All right, here we are, Impact and Influence Radio right here on iHeart, and today's broadcast is brought to you by Blinds of Sacramento, Sacramento's complete solution window covering experts. Give them a call, 916-790-8689, or visit blindsofsacramento.com. Now, today we have probably one of our most serious episodes. Frank put this one together, and I'm sitting here, and all I see is a name in the computer, and I go, okay, what are we talking about today? And he goes, something to do with veterans, and I'm like, all right, cool, let's do it. Okay, so what do we have? And then we sit down and we start to nail it down, and I go, whoa, why didn't I know more about what we're going to be talking about today? But I guess that's why we're here, right? So we've got Tim Tribble. I'm going to screw this up, but I'm going to try to put it as best as I can. American Legion Post 362, Folsom, Area 1, Mental Commissioner for the Department of California. Did I get that?
Yeah, that's correct.
Say that 3 times fast.
Yeah.
And then we've got Kellei Hennessey from Well Space Health. And so we're going to be talking about the programs that are available for veterans that are dealing with thoughts of suicide or actually acting on that. And this is really near and dear to my heart, something I've struggled with my entire life. I've always been vocal about it. I've never hid behind that, which is probably a good thing. So we're going to learn some of the psychology on that. I think the people who hide behind it are the ones who do it. The ones who are vocal about it identify it, and that's why we're still here. I'm assuming what we're going to find out. So first, I want to thank you guys for being here, and I want to thank you guys for your contributions, both to our for our freedoms. What our soldiers have gone through, what our military has gone through, and then at the same time, what they struggle and suffer with, and you're here to help them now that they're no longer fighting for us. Now they're fighting for themselves. Right. And so, this is going to be a serious episode, and I'm going to try to crack jokes. I'm going to try to make it fun and energetic because it can't be all sad all the time. But I think that it's a kind of a coping mechanism for ourselves to enjoy our time.
Yes.
So, all right. So where do we want to start, Tim?
Well, veteran suicide is not new.
No.
We started talking about it after 9/11 because it became a big issue and people started getting vocal. Our culture has changed. Back in the day, so I'm 61 years old, I served in the United States Army as, then we were called combat medical specialists, from October of 84 to October of 87. I didn't see anything. There was nothing going on. I'm 100% ready for PTSD. Because of a plane accident in Ganders, Newfoundland on December 12th, 1985. We had an aircraft returning from Egypt, Operation Bright Star. They'd flown from Cairo to Germany, overnighted from Germany to Ganders, landed that morning of the 12th. They had to replane, refuel, recrew. Plane crashed on takeoff. There were 248 members of the 101st Airborne and 9 crew members that perished. We were sent to Dover to bring the bodies in, identify them, get them in coffins under flags, and get them to Fort Campbell, Kentucky. Our mission, everyone was home for Christmas. I'm Army. I was brought up from Fort Meade. A bunch of us were brought up there because our battalion had been in Operation Bright Star. Our people had already come back earlier. We were taught, I'm a man, suck it up. Pull up bootstraps, suck it in, you be a man up, all these types of things, which in an instance when you're in a situation is fine. Get through it, get it done, absolutely, 100%. When you're done, you need to stop and take time and process what you just saw. When you don't, it builds and builds and builds and builds. So I got out of the Army in 1987, come back here to Sacramento. I've got all these training, all this stuff. Oh, you got to start over again. Okay. Worked EMS right here in Rancho Cordova. And we had an incident here on April 4th, 1991, called the Good Guys hostage situation.
I was getting ready to say that.
Yep.
You know, Frank, the one who booked you.
Yeah.
He was the manager of Good Guys, but the Good Guys in Antioch.
Yeah.
At that time, and was involved in all of that.
Yeah.
And you know what's actually crazy about that story Were you were an EMS for that?
Right. A 7th ambulance in.
So that was 1991. I was 9 years old. And my dad, we lived in the Bay Area at the time. So 91 was the Oakland fires.
Yep.
And so I'm really dating myself right now for these young cats that come through here to think I'm young. We lived in Hayward. And so we drove up to that Florin Road store, and God, my entire childhood, I can remember I had a piece of glass because the glass that they had shot out was like that for like a week or two.
Mm-hmm.
And we went up there. I remember watching this whole thing at Grandma and Grandpa's house on the TV. And then, we drove up there and I got a piece of glass. It was yay thick. I mean, it was serious glass. And I kept that I wonder whatever happened to that.
Yeah.
Now that I think about it.
Yeah.
Probably something you probably shouldn't have as a kid, but
There's probably a lot of things we shouldn't have had as kids, but yeah.
I was addicted to the news as a kid, which is probably why I'm in broadcasting and own a magazine and all this stuff. But I used to watch. I remember being 5 years old, and my idols, like the people that I looked up to were Dennis Richmond and Elaine Corral on KTVU Channel 2.
Oh wow,
that was they were my heroes, man. Every night at 10 o'clock.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
All right, keep going. Keep going.
So I was the 7th ambulance in.
Mm-hmm.
These things build up. I wound up losing my job. I was married, had 2 boys, one on the way, and then my daughter, my ex-wife was pregnant with my daughter, and I had nothing.
Mm-hmm.
All the metrics that society said that we're supposed to have, my parents said, why haven't you done this? Well, why can't you do this? Why? And society. And long story short, one day, I don't remember what it was that triggered it, but I said, bleep it, and ran into the bedroom to grab the handgun by the end of the bed. Trigger locks work. And stopped, got help, got into the mental health system. I didn't believe in mental health. It's all touchy-feely voodoo.
Yeah, when we don't understand what we don't understand, right? So if we're not around it, if we're not taught that, we're not going to understand that. Yeah.
I think what I can already see just in the few minutes that we've started talking is that there's 3 of us here talking about our experiences with suicide, and I know a lot of people want to see and hear success stories. And there's 3 success stories right here
100%.
where we can get through this. So if people are like, I don't know if I want to keep listening, this is a heavy conversation, please keep listening because there's 3 people who've made it through suicide. And
I have dealt with this my whole life. And so I don't want to break up your story. I want to hear more of your story before I tell my story. And of course, I want to hear Kellei's story before I tell my story. But to go back to Kellei, what's kept me from doing it is my art. Is that I strongly feel I'm not a religious person. I'm a very spiritual person. I don't go to church. I don't pray. I think prayer is kind of weird in my opinion, and people might look at that and go, "Wow, you have a problem, dude." Well, no kidding. I mean, I'm an artist. We're we have problems, okay? And so, for me, I feel strongly that God put me on this planet to do something. He said, "You're not good at cooking. You're not good at sports. You have a short fuse. You're not really great with people." But you're really, really good at creating music, creating video, art and movies, writing books, telling your story, influencing, motivating people, connecting people. And he gave me all these beautiful talents and said, you're not going to be rich, but you're going to be able to do what I've given you to do your entire life. And that's what I've done, is I've just done my art, and my art is the only thing that's kept me going. I don't have kids, and that we're going to get into that story in a little while. But again, for me, it is this. These are my children. This is my legacy, and this is the reason why I haven't. For me, it would have been the Forest Hill Bridge.
Yep.
That's what in more than one time I said, okay, I got my shoes on and the whole bit ready to go. And then something's happened. So the phone rang or something. And then I was, just life, man. All right, let's keep going.
Yeah. I got in the mental health system. I didn't tell anybody. Nobody knew.
Mm-hmm.
I had a 20-year career at Kellei. So when I got things put back together, went to work at the governor's office of emergency services, telecommunications.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not in the field anymore, but all my knowledge, my training, everything is still very, applicable to what I do. There were two people who knew.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody, because if you know, wait a minute, that's that guy. Oh, we can't promote you.
Yeah.
He's not right in the head.
Mm-hmm.
So you couldn't tell, you can't talk about it. Part of what I say, people say, you're so open about your story. I am. I'm retired. What are you going to do to me?
But we have to be open.
Yeah.
We have to be open.
Yep.
And the reason I say that is because we don't know who we're sitting across from. We don't know if our story is going to influence or motivate somebody to keep that from happening to them. There's a really funny but terrifying story that I have. It wasn't funny in the moment, and the only reason it's funny now is because I have to laugh it off because of the seriousness of the matter. But I got a call one night. This is 20-some years ago. I get a call one night, and the guy goes, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it right now. I'm going to kill myself. And I'm like, no, you're not, dude. And who the hell are you? And he goes, is this Kaiser? And I'm like, no, it's not Kaiser. And he goes, God, I can't even do that right. And then hung up the phone, and it was a blocked number, and I don't know if it was real. So I called 911, and I'm like, can you guys trace this call? And they're like, no. And so I have no idea. But looking back now, I'm like, good God, I hope that was a prank call. But we are in those moments, and and that's why I've probably never put a gun in the house. I've never had a gun. What's actually funny about that is I've been an advocate for concealed carry for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
I've worked with law enforcement. I've worked with various agencies.
Yeah.
I've taken all of my CCW. I have my permits. I have done it all.
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually a really good shot. I don't own a gun. Why? Because one bad day and that's it.
Yeah.
One bad day, and essentially I throw away everything that God gave me.
Yeah.
I love that you mentioned that one bad day, because there isn't a cure. You're in recovery for the rest of your life. It's day to day. There's good days, there's bad days. Tim and I check in on each other. You just learn to adapt differently when you've gone through a suicide attempt. And that's why we have the close community that we do have when we work in suicide prevention.
I've never gone as far as saying, okay, I'm going to do it right now. I've thought about it. I've cried about it. Let me tell you, my childhood, man. It's unfair. It's really, really unfair. But then, the other thing that keeps me going, you want to know this is something that keeps me going? I don't want to get too much into politics, but one of the things that keeps me going, and I sit there and I think about my life and how unfair and how unacceptable my childhood was. And I look at these kids in Israel, or I look at these kids in war zones, and I go, they don't even have a chance.
Yeah.
God gave me a chance at least. So I better appreciate that. And that's one of the things that just keeps me going. But yeah, it's a tough thing when it's constantly going through your head.
Yeah. Well, you can, I'm logic. I'm the son of an engineer. Okay. I know logic inside out, upside down. I can create arguments that are airtight. But yeah, you wind up in that rabbit hole and you think this is it. I was convinced everybody better off. They go get a new husband, they get a new father, they get somebody who knows what they're doing, have a better life, and nobody, you're gone. One of the things that we talk about is suicide affects about 135 people. So a person that commits suicide, there are 135 people that are affected by that one suicide. Whether it's family, friends,
Coroner's office, law enforcement, investigators, EMT, the medical professionals, autopsy.
Oh yeah, some of my traumas, and I'm sure Kellei's had that too. We both worked EMS, by the way. Not in
one
the
of
same
our
time.
old clients is actually one of our old clients is funeral home, and another one of our clients is crime scene cleanup, and they deal with it all the time.
And you see this, and it sticks with you, especially when it's kids.
I'm not
Teenagers.
even getting into that.
Yeah.
And so for me, my childhood, again, we're not going to get too much into these details yet. I want to hear Kelley's story. But for me, I was an abused child. And so I grew up with some just heinous stuff. Heinous stuff. I mean, these people should be in prison. And I've been an advocate for child safety my entire life. And I've worked with, and here's the sad thing, is I've worked with 3 different child safety advocate charities. And the charities are just as bad as the accusers.
Yeah.
Is what I found.
Yeah.
Is they broke the law. They have embezzled. They've been arrested. They've defrauded. They've offended. And I sit back and I go, there's no hope. There's no, all we have is our morals, and we can try to surround ourselves with people that we have the same morals. And that's essentially all we've got.
Absolutely.
That's it. That's all we've got. All right, Kelley, your turn.
Well, I wanted to bring up just about how other people are affected, and I think that's sort of how I got into suicide prevention. Having worked on a 911 ambulance, I worked at the Army National Guard as their suicide prevention program manager. And what you do when you respond to a suicide or you're reading an autopsy is we have this information in front of us. What are we going to do with this now? And I mentioned to you earlier, I have 8 daughters. And as they were growing up and it became appropriate, I needed to do something with that information or the visuals I had. I ran a call down in Monterey. A young lady found herself pregnant, didn't want to tell anybody.
Were you living down there?
Yes.
Where at?
Monterey.
Monterey?
Yeah. My dad was a police officer in Seaside.
Okay.
Yeah.
No kidding.
Yeah, I know. Nobody knows Seaside. So
I do.
Yeah, we
I
do.
went to, my plan was to go into law enforcement, and I was going to go to MPC.
Oh.
And I went to the police academy training thing, and I went to their graduation, and yeah, that's what I was going to do. And then I graduated high school and I started business, and I've just been here ever since.
Yeah, my dad was a police officer in Seaside for 34 years.
That's where I got introduced to music for the first time, guitar for the first time, and
Wow.
those are my stomping grounds. And then now I go every year for Car Week, Monterey Car Week.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
But just what can I do with that information and the things that I had seen and experienced? And like I was saying, this young lady found out she was pregnant. She was living with a family in Pebble Beach and thought, you know what, I can't tell anybody about this. I'm not married. And she took her life. And again, I was single, didn't have kids or anything at the time. And as my kids got older and it was age appropriate, I had that conversation with them. Like, things are going to happen in life. We'll get through it. If you find out you're pregnant and you're not married, it's not the end of the world.
There's a wonderful country song from John Michael Montgomery about that. Do you know what I'm talking about? It's called Cool.
Oh.
And he talks about how he is it Cool? Yeah, I think it's Cool. And he gets he gets his girl pregnant, and Dad's standing right behind him, and he goes, he goes, I know this great. The kid's talking to the girl. He goes, I know this great doctor that can take care of things, and he goes, you wouldn't be here right now if we had done that.
Oh, that gave me chills.
Yeah, it's a really great John Michael Montgomery song. John Michael Montgomery will always pull at your heartstrings, but that's a good song. I'll send that one to you. It's wild, but yeah, it's that story. Yeah.
So just what can we do with the information and the trauma that we've experienced? I don't want my childhood trauma, Tim's, yours, to go for nothing. What can we do? Can we change the perspective on this and prevent, child abuse? What can we do going forward to shift the dynamic for our future and for our youth, for our service members? What can we do with what we've experienced?
I think that, I've written 37 books or 38 books, and then I've helped other people write about another 30 books. And most of the content that I've written, well, every bit of the content I've written is got a positive message. It leaves something positive. Most of it is business related, but, I've done a couple political books, and then the other stuff is really just talking about the trials that I've had. And I've considered, if my dad listens, I've considered suing him. I've considered pressing charges. I don't know what the legalities are in doing that stuff 30 years later, 40 years later, but still to this day, I've grown to the point where he doesn't haunt me anymore. But he called me. I called him on his birthday last year, and we spoke for a few minutes. And it was a nice conversation. And then I called him on he called me on my birthday, and it was a nice conversation. We scheduled to meet. My wife was like, "Oh, good God, here we go." And we met, and it was nice. It was weird. The guy's he's a wacko. But it was nice. And then he overstepped his boundaries again. And I sent him a text message and said, you're completely incapable of having a healthy relationship with your children. And, that's going to stop here. And, and the sad thing is I hadn't talked to him for a number of years. And he's just in a very, we don't need to get into too many details because, then I sound like a narcissist. But the point is that there's just some people that are just unhealthy.
Yep.
And they're abusive and they're takers. Narcissism is a real thing.
Yep.
Egos are a real thing. We see it all the time. We see it in politics. And look at what's actually really interesting about what's happening right now. And I say I don't want to get into politics, and then here I am getting into politics. Is we're seeing something happen. We're seeing a shift right now where people are kind of fed up, and you're seeing people go to prison that should have gone to prison a long time ago, but they're now going to prison, the Bill Cosbys and so forth. And then, the R. Kelleys and the Diddies, but you're seeing in politics, you're seeing careers just completely wiped to zero because of the things that they've done. This Epstein situation is just completely out of control. And part of me is like, what is the big freaking deal about this Epstein thing? Okay, we get it. But the moment we all quit talking about it, then there's two things. The moment we quit talking about it, we forget, and history repeats itself. But then the other side of it is if we continue to talk about it, we continue to highlight and idolize this horrible, horrible man. So it's like, what angle are we taking here? It's a really tough thing.
It is. And it's very similar to talking about mental health. If we stop talking about it, then it makes it more difficult to talk about it and make it a normal conversation. We all have mental health, just like we all have physical health. We have spiritual health. We have financial health. So when we talk about, I'm going to talk to them about how your mental health is doing, it gives that negative sort of implication. But we all have mental health. Tim, how's your mental health today between red, yellow, green? Kellei, how's yours? Let's talk about mental health every day because we all have it.
Can we talk on, do we want to tell your story? Do we want to share that at all, or would you want to leave that alone?
I'm good for now.
Okay. So, Matt, let's talk about Matt. Matt has, I'm trying to be as respectful as possible because it's not my job to tell his story. Matt has had his issues with people in his life, and he's found a really wonderful way to deal with it. And I don't know if he's had the conversation, had the issues regarding the conversation we're having today. But Matt sat me down one day and said, "Look, dude, you're going to die." He's like, "You got to cool it. You got to quit burning the candle at both ends. You got to get your finances in order. You got to quit grinding like you're grinding. You got to quit stressing and worrying. You need to smile. You need to relax a little bit." He goes, "You're going to die." He goes, "You don't look good." I mean, he literally said this. And Matt's completely changed my entire life just for the fact that I don't wake up ready to kill myself in a sense. And I know that's facetious in saying that, but it isn't, but it is. I go to these networking events just about every night, and I meet people that I don't like. Some of them I love, some of them I don't like. And arrogance is in the room. I'm dealing with business people every single day. And there's a lot of arrogance. There's a lot of egos. And I've learned to just sit back and smile. And I just look at the whole situation and I go, they're in a phase in life. They're in a phase. I was there. And one day they're going to wake up and they're going to go, "Wow, I'm a toolbox. And I don't want to be a toolbox anymore. I want to be a productive member of society that people actually like and want to be around." And all of a sudden they're going to realize that all the money in the world doesn't matter. And nobody cares who you are and what you've done. And none of it matters. Nobody cares what kind of shoes you're wearing, what kind of watch you have, what kind of car you have. You're driving around in a Lamborghini, you look like a toolbox, dude. It just is what it is. So I think what I'm trying to say is Matt taught me that none of it matters. Just live your life. Wake up every day. Live simply. I found myself, instead of going and grinding away to buy $2,000, $5,000 watches, by buying a $90 watch and being happy with the $190 watch. Guess what? I don't have to work as hard, and I still have a watch I like.
My theme song is "Simple Man" by Leonard Skinner.
That's so funny. Mine is what's the Beatles?
Hopefully not Eleanor Rigby.
No, hold on. I'm drawing a blank, but I have the song right here.
I do that all the time.
It's called Age.
This is not just age.
It is. It's Age. Let it be.
Let it be. There you go.
Let it be. Just live your life, dude. Just live your life.
Yep.
You know. And so Matt always is like, just go with the flow.
When
And that's all we can do.
I retired December 31st of 2021.
Mm-hmm.
I was 417 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
We don't talk about the numbers of my blood pressure. My lower number, that's called the diastolic,
Mm-hmm.
should have been my systolic.
Mm-hmm. I don't know what any of that is.
That's 120 over 80.
Yeah.
So my diastolic, the lowest number, the one where your heart's relaxed,
Uh-huh.
was 130. Not good.
Yeah.
Okay, and it was the stress and all this stuff. And I went through and I started cutting, just like you were saying, all this stuff. It doesn't matter anymore.
Uh-huh.
I'm a ham radio operator. I have a radio in my truck. I talk to my friends on the repeater. They're going, dude, you're busier now than you were when you worked. I said, well, yeah.
But it's different work.
I'm
different.
doing what I love. This is my passion. This is my calling.
Completely different.
And I'm doing it with people I want to be with. Yes. I'm not going to, don't you know who I am?
Oh, no,
I hear that. It's like, so it makes a difference.
In this business, we deal with this stuff all the time. And, you hear these guys and they pull up and they're loud. They're loud with their clothes. They're loud with their outfits. They're loud with their business. They're loud. Everything is loud. And it's like, what's quiet? What's quiet is they're not sure of themselves. They're trying to oversell themselves. Mm-hmm. And the moment that they can comfortably wear a $40 pair of shoes and a $15 shirt, wear a $90 watch, all of a sudden they're not loud anymore. And the relationships get better and they have less problems, and life gets better for them. And so, part of that is the solution. So let's start talking about solutions. We all have our problems, and some of us think that the easy way out is to jump off a bridge. We just saw the lady that jumped in front of the light rail downtown,
Had a few of those over since 84.
Yeah.
So the American Legion, so they've done this wonderful job of getting, so we had 22 a day. It went down. It's right about 17 now. It's trending back up sort of since the low from COVID when everything went down.
Mm-hmm. What's the suicide rate?
So we had 17 soldiers. We had 17 or 22 veterans a day at the peak. That's when we started really talking about it.
Okay.
All the national commanders, every single one, all the veteran groups of American Legion, VFW, AMVETS, Purple Heart, all of them, they all went to Congress for the first time. All 7 of them sat down in front of Congress and said, we want money for mental health. So the VA got the funding, and they have this thing called the Compact Act, and this is a real thing, and it covers so any veteran can go into any emergency room. I don't care what emergency room it is. Does not matter. You walk in, you say you're a veteran, they will treat you, they will get you in the system, they will get you help.
Interesting.
We did this great job, but then what's being done? So the American Legion partnered with Columbia University School of Psychiatry, and we have a 90-minute online training that's offered twice a month called Be the One.
Okay.
Be the one who reaches out. Be the one who asks, do you feel like harm? Do you feel like killing yourself? And everybody goes, oh man, I can't ask that. And here's my answer. I have carried too many caskets. I've presented too many flags. Mm-hmm. I've been to too many funerals. Mm-hmm. That is a hell of a lot harder than saying, hey, is it really that bad? Do you really feel like you're going to harm yourself?
I go to the doctor and they give you that piece of paper and you have to fill all that bull crap out. And, the lady goes, on a scale of 1 to 5. And I'm like, lady, you do not want to know what's going on upstairs, dude. I'm here for an eye infection. Like, just fix the eye infection. You know what I'm saying? Or ear infection, whatever it is, right? Like, we're not here for this, dude. I'm figuring my crap out. You just do you, but I get that we do need to ask those questions.
So we have this program. It's free. This is a professional program. It's a modification of the Columbia. It's called the Columbia Method that they did years and years and years ago. I knew it as an EMS. Where non-mental health professionals that gave us a way of gauging where this person's at. We're not mental health professionals. So they made it. It's veteran centric. So we have this program. You go online. It's free. It's a 90-minute. What I'm asking people is, I'm asking for 90 minutes of your time to save a veteran's life, because veterans are everywhere. We're not just at the Veterans Hall. We are in employment. We're everywhere where you work. You know, everywhere. Somebody's a veteran.
Correct.
Grocery store, your houses of faith, your social clubs. We're everywhere. All the sports leagues, all that type of stuff.
What are they doing for? And this is going to be a very controversial subject. What are they doing for the children? And you have the legions, and then you have sons and legions. But what are they doing? What programs are available to the veterans' kids? Because the veterans come back from war and they come and they beat the crap out of their kids. They sexually abuse their kids. They do these just horrible, horrible things. I watched my mother and my stepmothers get beat up and dragged around the house by their hair. We got knocked out till we blacked out. And, just all the stuff that we saw as children. What's available to the veterans' kids?
So the VA, it's inclusive. So
because I'm not a veteran, so I can't take advantage of the VA, any of it.
Right, but the VA, the vet centers, they have wraparound programs, so they take care of the family, the children. It's all covered because it's all part of the same thing. Because the number 3 leading cause of suicide among veterans is relationship issues. Mm-hmm. See, people, one of the fallacies with veteran suicide, everything. Oh, yeah, they were over in the war. Yeah, that's right. So they saw all this stuff. The people were blown up and all. They come back to it. That's not just it. Traumatic brain injuries, yes, they're the number 2 leading cause. Mm-hmm. The leading causes are relationship issues, TBI. Oh, I can't sleep. Mm-hmm. Sleep deprivation. Mm-hmm. So all of these items, all these things, it's the same types of things that we see in the general population, but it's amplified because of our military service and because of who we are as people, mm-hmm. because of our military service. It's not all just related to, I saw bad stuff in a combat zone. The anger was there before. Mm-hmm. It was not dealt with. It got amplified because, you watch.
I remember Dad would go away for a couple of weeks, couple of months, whatever. And our stepmom was just an idiot. And she would literally line item every single thing that we did wrong the whole time. And then when Dad would come home, of course, we would dread when Dad would come home, because the first thing he would do is when he takes his belt off of his military uniform, he would line item one item after another on the little sheet, and we get the shit beat out of us for 2 days because we were being disciplined for this thing that we did 2 months ago. Yeah. It was wild, dude. It was wild. I just think to myself, like, why would you want to come home and hurt your kids? I don't understand this. Why did you even have kids if you just want to hurt your kids? And it's not discipline. It's not discipline when you're 7 years old and you get picked up from school and your dad goes, what happened today? And I go, nothing happened today. He goes, well, I talked to your teacher. And I go, nothing happened today. It was a good day. It was a good day. He goes, so nothing happened? No, nothing happened. He goes, okay, well, why don't you think about that? And I go, I took Matt's, hole puncher, or, I took his eraser off his desk, but I didn't get in trouble or anything. He said, oh, okay. So that's what you did. You took something that didn't belong to you. Okay. And then as soon as you get home, you get the shit beat out of you because you just said that you took the kids' pencil erasers. Well, I don't even want to talk to you anymore, dude. Because, why would I talk to you if this is what's going to happen? So you don't share anything. You build no relationship. And then that relationship continues through life. And then you get into your 20s and your 30s. And then you start to think to yourself, like, well, maybe I was a bad kid. And then you get into your 40s and you go, man, my parents were really dipshits, and you sit back and you think about it and you're like, how could I have made that situation better? And what is available to us kids now that we're adults? What is available to us kids? And you look at the way our kids are parented now. The kids are parented now, and we don't hit our kids anymore. We don't abuse our kids. We don't call our kids names. You know, there's timeout sessions and these things, and then they say, oh, well, now your kids are soft. No, the kids aren't going to come back and kill you in your sleep. You know,
Well,
I mean, it's just a different thing. You know,
you get short-term compliance, but what you wind up with long-term issues. You know, I grew up in corporal punishment, but that's what we knew in the 60s and 70s.
yeah.
But no, there's things for the families through the VA. So it's an all-inclusive thing. That's part of this, like I said, the Compact Act that they did.
Mm-hmm.
And they do have there are, of course, requirements for you have to qualify with the VA. But if you've been in a combat zone, you qualify. It's that simple. Because a lot of what we're finding out now, they're going back. A lot of the general discharges dishonorable or less than honorable. So people got caught with, like, you know, smoking some marijuana or something, or a drinking problem. I mean, I had my senior NCOs were Vietnam guys, and let me tell you, in the 80s Army, we could drink.
Oh, you can do anything.
We could drink, and that was what it was. That was how they were dealing with Vietnam. Because our senior medic,
saw Forrest Gump.
Yeah, our senior medic had 6 of his classmates on the wall.
That's the only reference I have is Forrest Gump. I'm too young, right?
No, we had our senior medic, Staff Sergeant Baker, had, I think, 5 or 6 of his classmates on the wall. How do you deal with that? You can't, nobody processes it. Nobody talks about it. We're starting to get there. We're starting to get processing. I know Vietnam vets that I know in my hall that are now in group focus groups over at the VA. They're going and they're getting group counseling, and they don't want to miss it.
Yeah.
Every week they want to go in and Wednesday morning, 10 a.m. I'm in there. They're now 50 years later being able to process and what happened to them when they came home.
Yes.
It's getting better, but we still need, you know, it's like Kellei said, we got to talk about it. We got to get out there. The stigma is what kills people, because they're still, it's still there. We get people, well, that's not for me. I'm not talking about you. This training is to help someone else.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. We're asking.
But you probably know somebody.
Yeah. Yeah. And
absolutely.
that this is the issue is, I'm okay.
And it's not just Vietnam guys.
No.
You got Desert Storm guys.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
You have first responders that sat there and watched people jumping from World Trade Center.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Know? And, you know, we hear, you know, Pete Davidson, comedian, you know, he jokes about his dad all the time. You know, he could sit there and cry about it.
Yeah.
Or he could sit there and carry his dad's legacy. We wouldn't even know who his dad was without those funny jokes. But those funny jokes we know the seriousness of the matter. And we know the sacrifice that his father gave our country and our everything. And you know, that's our job. That is our job, you know, as personalities to add some light and to talk about these things. And sometimes we have to make bad situations funny. You watch Bill Burr? Bill Burr's great.
Okay.
Bill Burr's great.
Yeah.
Because he turns tragedy into something that's just beautiful. And we all laugh. But we all know deep down it hurts. But we can't cry about it. We have to live it. You know.
Well, but, I mean, we usually called it dark humor.
Yes.
To cope with things, and again, this stuff works for a little while. I mean, it's, you know, there's diffusing, but the long term things. This was my first in area, Rancho Cordova, up here, right, Hazel Avenue. There is a spaghetti factory I will never set foot in again.
Interesting.
We had this. We used to go up there. So I worked private ambulances, so we'd go in there and eat. They were always great to us. If we caught a call, they just left. No big deal. It was always great. They served us wonderfully. And there was a 17-year-old girl that was the hostess. And right out here on Gold Country, before this was all, they were just starting to build it out. There's a big section of nothing. Head-on collision one night. We roll up there, and after the hour and a half of cutting the car off, and we didn't even know who it was.
Yeah, it was the girl.
Until the morning after, when they published the story, and we were like, oh. And her parents were there. Yeah. And because they lived right there, and they heard the helicopter come down. Yeah. I'm friends with the life fight. I'm still friends with Margaret, the life fight nurse. We still know that. I will not go into that restaurant.
Because of that.
I can't.
Yeah.
Because I walk in there, I see her
Yeah.
in that car.
Yeah.
There's all these things that they don't go away, and I don't want them to go away because they're part of who I am, part of what made me now.
Yeah.
They become comfortable. It's that weird friend that you have that comes by every now and then. You still like them, they get along okay. It's kind of weird, but I still I need those. I need the good guys. I need all these other little things because that's what brought me to this point. And if I didn't have those experiences, if I hadn't done the things I did in my life, I would not be here right now and be able to sit down and advocate.
But
if we send them, we mend them.
But those weirdo friends that we have, I'm in the biker community, right? So, I mean, I rode Harleys and I owned motorcycle shops for 18 years. So, I mean, I know a lot of bikers.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, there's some weird ones out there.
Oh, yeah.
But we run into each other and it's big hugs and it's how you doing? How you doing, brother? Yeah, brother.
Yep.
And you do your thing. And the point is that without those people, we wouldn't have certain things. And if they didn't have us, they wouldn't have certain things. And it's that camaraderie.
There's value in everybody you come across, whether it's somebody from your motorcycle club or, your favorite hostess at a restaurant. There's value and there's a lesson that we're supposed to learn from everybody. We don't know why people cross our paths sometimes. But you're like, oh, now it makes sense. Now I know why I ran into Tim.
Wild. All right. So Well Space Health. Let's get into this. What do you guys do?
I
want to start winding this thing down.
We are a nonprofit community health system provider. We provide comprehensive medical, dental, integrated behavior health, supportive services for the underserved community. We're a federally qualified health center, so we don't turn anybody away. If they need help getting Medi-Cal established, we can do that. If they can't afford to pay, we can work on a sliding fee scale for them. We just want to make sure that people have a place to go. If they can't get into the VA soon enough or they don't like that ER or whatever the circumstance is, they can come to Well Space Health and
Interesting.
That for veterans, for their family members or spouses, whoever it might be. I wanted to ask you, have you ever gone up to Forest Hill Bridge since that was your means?
I drive up there all the time.
Do you? Have you seen the 988 phones up there?
Yes. I've never had to use any of that stuff. We shoot a lot of our movie scenes up there.
Oh, wow.
We've shot music videos up there.
Mm-hmm.
It's very much a part of my life. Forest Hill Bridge is a very dear place for me.
Very personal.
It's a very personal place. My wife and I, we've gone up there. We've climbed underneath it before, which is kind of cool. I mean, not like to the middle or anything, but, underneath it, there's like a little trail that goes underneath. People don't know that. And so, you can get a nice close view. I mean, it's still like 100 feet above you, but it's so massive, And then, they've shot lots of movies up there. So we did some really cool drone shots in this, one of our latest films where, we're driving over the bridge and we have the drone flying over us and you can see how high it's like 832 feet or something like that. It's wild.
Supposed to have been a lake there.
What's that?
Supposed to have been a lake there.
Yes, that was supposed to be, yes. And then they decided for whatever reason, I don't remember what the situation was, But they, it's, I guess, the highest bridge east of the Mississippi or west of the Mississippi is my understanding. So no, it's a very dear place. But I'm a driver. I've always had Porsches and stuff. So those roads up there, I tend to drive a little more aggressively than I should. And that place, man, I know every turn, Well,
Tim had mentioned earlier when he was talking about his story, and he mentioned trigger locks, and I mentioned 988. We talk a lot in our community about access to means and reducing access to means. The trigger locks, they might have the key, may not. It gives them time to think about, is this really what I want to be doing? You have to fiddle around with the key, get it unlocked.
Slows you down.
You have that few minutes to stop and think. Just like with the phones.
We drove up there one time and there was like thousands of notes people had written.
Oh, really?
Up there. Yeah. You didn't know that?
I've heard of that.
Yeah, they had put notes in little baggies and like every pole all the way across the bridge on both sides was Post-it notes. It was really, really interesting. The other thing that's really, really cool is go walk across it sometime and look at what people have engraved into the paint on the railing, and It's just love.
Yeah.
It's
Yep.
not, don't jump. It's, Jenny and Chris, 1996. And, it goes all the way back to the 80s and stuff. And you think about it, it's like somebody, scratched this into this and it's just rust now. And it's 40 years, 50 years. Like, where's their life today?
Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing when you think about it.
Yeah.
And I think that this is back to politics. Did you watch the Super Bowl?
Yes,
Did you watch the halftime show?
both of them.
Okay. Did you watch Super Bowl and halftime show?
Nope.
Okay, go watch the halftime show. Not the turning point one. Go watch the other halftime show. I'm not sure what to think about the whole Bunny, whatever the hell his name is, Bad Bunny or whatever his name is. I don't know. Not really my thing. The music wasn't. I didn't care about the music. But there's two really, really important moments that happened in that Super Bowl. One was the wedding. There was a real wedding that was taking place.
Yes.
It was a Sacramento wedding. People don't know that.
Oh, I didn't
It
know.
was a Sacramento wedding.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yes. And so they had written a letter to Bad Bunny and said, we'd love to invite you to our wedding. And he goes, well, why don't we just have the wedding at the Super Bowl?
Yes.
And so they did that. The second thing is at the very, very end, there was a billboard and it said, the only thing more powerful than hate is love.
Yes.
And holy crap, dude. And that right there, I thought about it and I went, well, can't argue with that. And they're saying it's politically charged. I don't care if it's politically charged or not. We need to hear more of that stuff.
It's still a true statement.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. And so, just is what it is, dude.
Yeah.
Is what it is. And so if we just got up every day, and sometimes, we look at Robin Williams and he made everyone laugh.
Mm-hmm.
And we look at Chester Bennington from Lincoln Park and he made everyone smile. You walk through the mall. I was walking through the mall and I heard one of his songs the other, I guess it was about a year ago now, but I just start tearing up in the mall. I'm thinking to myself, like, my God, what was this guy going through? What was he dealing with? And he's dealing with all of his demons and all of his problems and drugs and alcohol and all the stuff.
Yeah.
And then, but if we wake up every day and we find purpose, and I think that's what the takeaway is here.
Mm-hmm.
We have to have some sort of purpose.
Yep.
Absolutely.
And once we have purpose, whether you're spiritual, whether it's Buddha or God or Allah or whatever it is that you're worshiping, it could be worshiping Ferrari and Porsche. Who cares? Whatever it is that you're worshiping, you have to have purpose. And if you don't have purpose, then find purpose. And the way to find purpose is just go back, and I tell people this all the time. People want to start a business. Go back to that one thing that you've had since you were a kid, whatever that is, whether it's coloring in the coloring book or building blocks or whatever it is, and do that and start there and start to find that one thing that nobody can take away from you. And if that means that every day you come home and you color in your coloring book, then that's what it is. If that means that you do gardening, then that's what it is. But you have to find that one, whatever it is that nobody can take away from you. And for me, it's art, it's creation. And so that's what's kept me going all these years. And I'm better now mentally than I've ever been, because I rid myself of the toxins, which is my father, and I've got my wife's family and all of that. My wife's family. This is the thing that's interesting is I never knew what love was. I remember when I was in the motorcycle business, I walked into one of the motorcycle company offices one day, and I was with this girl for like 7 years at the time. We ended up being together like 9 years. And he goes, when you get married? I was like, I don't know. We're already married. He's like, you're not married though. You live together. I was like, nah, we're married. He's like, do you love her? I'm like, yeah, I guess. Yeah, sure. I don't know what love is. I when you grow up without it, you have no idea. And then I met my wife's family. And, my family let me be homeless twice from business failures, go bankrupt, go to jail, all the stuff that happens when you are failing and you have no direction. And I meet my wife's family. These people knew me 2 weeks. I was homeless. I was living in my car. It's a cool car. It was a Porsche. It was a cool car, but I was living in my car. And I had a failed business. All they had to do was Google me and see I wasn't an axe murderer and see that it was a failed business, why I was homeless, sleeping on a buddy's floor. But the point I'm making is they gave me a roof. They gave me a shower to shower. They gave me 3 meals a day. Russian culture is the daughter can't move out until the wedding day, right? So she still lived at home. She was in her early 20s. I was 30. And so, I meet mom and dad, and mom and dad became mom and dad. And they showed me love. They showed me all these things that I had never seen in life.
Mm-hmm.
And then my dad still wants to come around with all of his nonsense. And I sit there and I go, no, dude, this is the way it's supposed to be. This is what a family unit is supposed to be. Not that. That's all bad. You got to change. You got to figure out whatever it is that you're doing over there, because I'm living this life over here. And he'd call and he'd yell and cuss and scream. And I go, we don't talk like that in this house. We don't use that kind of language in this house. We all use profanity, but there's a direction, right? You know, we can drop the F word, but if I call you the F word, it's a little different. You get my drift.
Oh, yeah.
So, you know, we don't use that kind of language in this house. We don't talk like that in this house. And he could never understand it. So then he got dismissed. You know, this is not. And once I found what real love was and what real purpose was and what real life was and what the real family unit was and all these things, all of a sudden, all those horrible things, those probably, you know, the thoughts, it all goes away, because now you've got a reason. So again, back to the people that are dealing with these things, go back to that, whatever it is that makes you happy, your happy place, and start there and do that and almost become obsessed with that happy place. And be surprised just how much life changes when you become literally obsessed with a happy place. If that means that, again, that you want to go pick flowers, then go pick flowers every single day. If that means that you're going to take pictures of flowers, this is another interesting thing about Russian culture. Maybe you know or don't know. You look like you have maybe a little bit of European in you.
I think so.
So Russian culture is my birthday, and I show up for my first birthday in Russian culture. You know, I'm getting married. I'm not married yet. We're engaged. And everyone brought me flowers. And I sit back and I think about it and I go, what the hell are you bringing a man flowers for? This is girly.
Nope.
And then I've learned as I've gotten older, oh my God, you should see my house. I have flowers everywhere. I have pictures of flowers. My clothes, I have flowers on my clothes. Flowers everywhere. Flowers are the most beautiful thing, because you can't have a bad day when you look at flowers every day.
Very true.
You cannot have a bad day. You can be having the worst day ever, and you grab your camera phone and just go to a park and just take pictures of flowers. Oh my God, dude, it's amazing.
I think what you described so beautifully is finding a family within your wife's family, regardless if you guys are dating or officially married. And if we translate that into our service members and veterans within, you know, their units, that is their family. That's their brotherhood, their sisterhood.
Motorcycle clubs every single one of these people are broken, and that club or that group or that riding group or whatever it is, that becomes their family.
And they take care of their own.
And that's why they're called brothers.
Yes. Absolutely.
And same. That's why we're trying to promote. We're looking at ways to bring people in. We call it community. So we have events that people can come to. Breakfast twice a month. You don't have to be a member. Just come on in and have breakfast. There's things that we do. We try to create community, get people together, because it's really, really hard to kill yourself when you're sitting next to someone. It just doesn't work out really well. If nothing else, they'll stop you. If nothing else, they'll stop you. It's really difficult. And you get around, and it's that community, it's that camaraderie. That's a lot of what we miss when we become civilians. Outside of public safety, you do not find the level of camaraderie that we have in the military, both in covering ourselves and the great and wonderful things that we do together.
They're called brothers.
Yeah,
literally.
Yeah, brothers and sisters. Absolutely.
There's a movie, Band of Brothers, wasn't
Yes.
there? Yeah, exactly. And so I think one of the most dangerous things is being alone.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Stay connected. Stay connected.
Yeah.
Call up your battle buddy.
Yeah.
Call up 988 if you need to.
Honestly,
Connect
here's what
with
it comes
somebody.
down to. Go to the CHP, go get your M1, go buy yourself a motorcycle. I'm dead serious. Because my brother's homeless. He's a transient in Las Vegas, a lot of mental health issues. But, he also, I guess this is probably a good place I can say it. He raped my sister. And so I was the one that put him in prison he did 12 years and he's in this Megan's Law and all that stuff. So, he can't carry a job and he can't. So now he's a transient. He lives in Las Vegas in one of those underground things under the city. And so, I don't have any connection with him. If you watch my movies, you'll see him here and there because there's like little video clips that him and I have had over the years that I tie in. So I still have my brother and give him as much as I can give him from a distance. But the point I'm making is, what I've always told him is just go buy a motorcycle. Go buy a damn motorcycle. Because what's going to happen is you're going to run into somebody at Starbucks or at McDonald's, and you're going to talk, because you're going to talk bikes.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're going to invite you to a ride, and then you're going to be doing a lot of rides, and then eventually you're going to be in if somebody like him, who's, you know, on the wrong side of the law, who has no morals, he would be great in a motorcycle gang, like legitimately, like a real motorcycle gang, because then he's going to have he's going to be around like-minded people. And he's just going to do his thing. And not all motorcycle gangs are out there, you know, killing people and dealing drugs and things. There's they're doing other things. He could be in, you know, he can be in BACA, you know, Bikers Against Child Abuse. You probably wouldn't be accepted there. But the point I'm making is you know, if you're one of those people that has a hard time meeting people and connecting with people, just go buy a motorcycle. Every Thursday night is bike night. You get 500 bikes out there at Jamba Juice on Arden and Howe. You're going to run into a lot of people. And guess what? You're probably going to go for a ride. And the next day you're going to ride. The next day you're going to ride. The next day you're going to ride. And guess what? Every day you're going to ride. Now you're going to increase your odds of getting killed in a motorcycle accident, but you're not killing yourself. That's life taking you, not you taking life. You know, different. I would much rather go in a motorcycle accident than be sitting there by myself, hanging myself by a doorknob or something. Like, let's be honest.
Yeah, well, we have our time.
We have our time, right?
Yeah. But
are you a motorcycle guy?
Too many years in EMS, buddy. I've been to too many motorcycle wrecks. Nope.
Yeah.
No.
That was actually one of the reasons why I quit riding. I rolled up on too many of them, and they're sitting there pumping the chest on the middle of the freeway. And it was interesting. Is that one day I'm coming home, I was having a bad day. I come home, I come across a motorcycle accident on Madison. They're pumping the guy's chest. His helmet's still on. And I pulled over, and CHP comes up to me, and they're like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "If it was one of your guys having their chest pumped on the side of the road, would you be pulled over?" And he goes, "Yep."
Yeah.
He says, "Take your time, but be careful getting home."
Yeah.
And let me tell you, dude,
Yeah.
I wasn't riding 85 all the way home. I was riding like 62, and then put the bike up for sale. I was like, that's it. I can't do this anymore. See too much stuff. 18 years in the motorcycle industry.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't do it anymore.
Yeah.
I'm not coordinated enough. I'm just going to own that right off the bat. I'm just not.
Yeah.
I'm not.
Yeah,
Like,
that hand-foot thing, yeah, it'll get you. But yeah, we're, you know, like she's talking about access to lethal means. One of the things that the VA does, we have free gun locks.
Oh, interesting.
So I have them, and we have the ones for pistols.
Mm-hmm.
We can order the ones for long arms, so rifles and shotguns.
Mm-hmm.
They work. It absolutely works. We don't. If somebody wants, I'm not going to tell anybody you can or cannot own a gun. That's a whole different thing. We don't get into that.
Yeah, but gun safety, number one, is you're supposed to have the gun in one place, the bullets in the other. Everything has to be locked, and there's reasons, and that's all part of your CCW training. Is everything has to be separate, and things have to be locked, and there's a reason for all of that.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I will also tell you, I know human beings.
Yeah, I know.
So we have this, and I have them out in the lobby of the Folsom Veterans Hall. I keep them supplied. People come in there.
I've ridden my bike there.
Yeah.
You have a rider that I rode there with once. I don't remember his name. He rode one of those Can-Am little 3-wheeler things.
Okay. Yeah, there's
big guy.
Oh, good.
Like a really big guy though. Like a really big guy. I mean, this guy was probably like 6'10" and rode one of those black Can-Am thingies. God, I don't remember his name, but it was yours. It was over off of Hazel, right?
No, that's 383. I'm Folsom. That's Fair Oaks. But yeah, they had a writers group there. Yes, they did.
Yeah.
And that's because the American Legion. We have the American Legion writers.
Yeah, he wanted me to join the Sons of Legions.
Yes, Sons of the American Legion. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's one of our groups that we have.
All right. Let's wrap this up. Okay, Tim Tribble, American Legion Post 362 Folsom, Area 1 Mental Commission for the Department of California. Mental Health Commission. Taking more notes. Commission for the Department of California, betheone.org. And then Kellei Hennessey from Well Space Health, 916-741-7721. Anything you want to add before we get out of here? Lots of resources. Where can people find all those resources?
So you can go to betheone.org. Anyone can call 988 option 1. That's takes you to the Veterans Crisis Line. They're full of information. Anyone can call. You do not have to be the veteran. The VA, you can go over to the VA right over there off Mather Field at the old Mather Hospital. Okay, that's available there. Again, any emergency room, any veteran can go to any emergency room and seek help. And they will not be charged.
What about people who are not veterans that are still dealing with the same thing?
So that's
WellSpace Health. Reach out to us, wellspacehealth.org. All of our centers are listed there. We can get people in for same-day appointments if we need to. No insurance, that's fine. We can figure that out. But yeah, people don't have to do this by themselves. They don't have to be stuck in that rut. When you want to choose to live every single day, we're going to be right here supporting that.
Should we be filling out that stupid little questionnaire thing that they do every time you go into the hospital for a checkup?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm glad we said that in unison. Yes. I know it can be taxing. You're like, okay, it's just a piece of paper. But that piece of paper, of the right person, the clinician who's looking at it, it gives you some insight of what that person is going through. And it's an access point to start asking some of those questions, because maybe you check that box or you answer this way. Let's have a conversation about it. Let's make sure you're being seen, because you are valuable. You matter. So yeah, answer them honestly, because that's the access point. And if we need you to do it, we need our youth to do it. We need our service members to do it.
Yes. And for people who are in compromising situations, it's a way for them to be able to ask for help.
That's actually very true.
Very true. There's a lot of that. The one thing we're talking about, is when I ask someone, "Hey, Kellei, how are you doing?" I mean it. We need to start meaning things. We need to start treating each other as human beings. Like she said, everybody, you have value because you're in my life, not just because of what you can provide or what you can do or this or that. Just we have value because we exist. And that's the starting point. And when we start treating each other better, we start talking better, start doing things better, this all starts going away, because that's a lot of the reasons for depression and mental health is the way we talk and treat to each other.
What do we want to title this episode? I don't want to put Tim Tribble and Kellei Hennessey on here. I'm almost thinking something like
It's Tim and Kellei show. We're not making it a show. Okay.
Hey, you want to do that? This is the place. This is what we do. It's going to cost you, but 'cause we have to pay the producer. But the point is something along the lines of mental health awareness or suicide prevention awareness. A discussion with Jon Robert Quinn or something. What are you thinking for a title for this thing, so we can get the most traffic on this to really go about this the right way?
I think stop suicide. Stop suicide prevention discussion. Something along those lines. The hashtags that we like to use are like stop suicide, hashtag veteran suicide. Thing in the hashtag world. So something along those lines.
How about stop veteran suicides?
Yeah. And it needs to be blunt. We don't want to.
Everything I do is blunt. I don't know any.
I've been accused of that.
I don't know any different. I'm a very not soft person.
And I would love to continue conversations about the stigma about people reaching out for help. There's a fear of consequence. There's a fear of what's going to happen next. And that stops people from reaching out for help and asking for support. They're worried about being a burden. They're going to look weak to their unit. It's embarrassing.
It has nothing to do with looking weak to other people. It's 100% looking weak to themselves.
Oh, for sure.
They're battling themselves. This is not a battle. When people want to kill themselves, they don't care about what's going on outside. It's all inside, and it's how they feel, and it's what they're doing. And it's not that they want to they don't want to release the burden that they feel in themselves to other people. So they're not going to get other people involved. Again, Robin Williams is a prime example of this.
So let's have conversations. How can we address this differently? We see the numbers, they kind of fluctuate. Data doesn't really tell us what things are working. So let's have some conversations and say what is working, what isn't working.
When we get off mic, let's have a further discussion. Let's look at where the magazine can help.
Okay.
And really see how all of our heads can come together and figure something out. But I want to thank you guys for coming in, first of all. I want to thank you guys for coming in and being a part of this. And obviously, I don't know what you guys do with child safety, but that is a very, very heavy topic that I've tried working with organizations in the past, and they just didn't. They were almost as bad as the offenders. So maybe you guys can provide some solution on that. But I want to thank the audience for listening. I know it was heavy. If you made it this far, then there's hope for every single one of us.
Yes.
BeTheOne.org. And if you say that you've never had the thoughts, quit lying to yourself, because we've all had those thoughts at one point in our life, whether it's tax time, whether it's Christmas, whether it's divorce, whether it's loss of life, a child lost a child, whatever it is. And guess what? I'm going to close with this. There's this wonderful lady that I know, Gail Smiley. Do you know Gail Smiley?
No.
Okay. Do you remember the local man that got killed by the shark in Hawaii?
Yes, I remember that.
Okay, that was Tom Smiley. That was Gail's husband. Okay, so they used to buy all their helmets from me. So we used to do their racing stuff because I had the motorcycle business, and motorcycle helmets, racing helmets are the same helmets. So long story short, Tom and Gail, we got really, really close over the years. Gail and Tom had a beautiful condo in Maui, and he went out for a morning swim, got eaten by a shark. Literally, that's essentially what happened. And I talked to Gail. We run into each other every couple of years, and it's like a cousin that you see, and you give each other a big old freaking hug, and you hold her as tight as you can for as long as you can. And just a wonderful, wonderful lady. And she said that every day she watches the sunset. Every single day she sits on her patio and watches the sunset, because if she never sees the sun again, it's going to rise again the next day. And it's always going to rise again the next day. For the next however billions of years, the sun is going to continue to rise and set every single day, whether we're here or not. So the point I'm making is just live your days. Live your days. Okay. All right. BeTheOne.org. Thank you guys so much. Thank you guys for listening, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Thanks.